I grew up in the Asian community, you guys know this. And I was followed in liquor stores. I was followed in grocery stores by my own people, Asian people. As a kid, I was upset, but then who would comfort me? My Asian family. I don't jump on the bandwagon of like, fuck the Asian community, I've never supported, because like that's my family. What's up guys? It's Ryan Alexander Holmes, The Mixed Message. Today I'm joined by Jason Chu and Sam Hyun. And we're gonna talk about the acquittal of Rick Chow for shooting a black teenager in the back. His name was Cyrus Carmack Belton. And really the context that I wanna get for this conversation is, you know, when I heard the news of this happening, in my black and Asian mind, I'm always like, how do people think about this and how is the media gonna spin this? And so I brought on Jason, who's a historian, a rapper, grew up in Delaware with his enclave of like immigrants and black people, black immigrants, people of color. And you found safety in that environment, in an all-white environment. Then you have Sam Hyun, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing all right.
But you work in media, you work in government relations, and you have black people in your family. You have Mies, Blasians.
I do.
Yeah.
There's three of them.
But the reason I'm saying this is because the way that we think about these situations when they happen, we don't take the knee-jerk reaction. We don't fall into the confirmed biases that the news and the media spin this. And so, yeah, basically, I guess the way I want to tee it up is, how did you feel and what was going through your head when you received the news about this case and Rick Chow being acquitted and this black teenager being shot in the back?
Yeah. I mean, for me, instantly, right? I thought of 1992.
Yeah, Latasha Harlins.
Yeah, Latasha Harlins, Sun Jadu, very similar situation that led to the LA uprisings. Mm-hmm. And I thought about that both because the story is very similar, but also because of everything that came after and the way that the media really spun that and has used that for the last, 30 years to further pre-existing tensions between black and Asian communities.
Yeah.
And it takes, and we've all already seen this going on online, where an incident that's a tragedy, that's horrible, that is racially charged, that is perhaps racially informed and motivated, starts getting turned into something that becomes an excuse or adds fuel to the fire.
Yeah, exactly.
Of these pre-existing tensions.
Yeah.
And that's what scares and saddens me, and what I really want us to get out to our communities is, how do we process this and how do we try in some way to not let this go where we know it could go?
Yeah, it's a very bad place that we don't want to go to, and we already experienced that before. But yeah,
I would add, I think first and foremost, it's really thinking about the families, right? Like the fact that a 14-year-old kid, lost his life. I think sometimes what we do is we add so much context.
That's true. That's very true.
And we add a lot of information, and we put ourselves as if we understand what is happening in real time onto the situation, as opposed to actually taking a step back and be like, holy shit, we literally just lost a 14-year-old kid.
Yeah, a kid.
Right. And really just kind of take time to process the fact that a 14-year-old child, had his life cut short and murdered, right? And then also be able to look at it, context is of course important, but sometimes we have to remove it just to be able to see the situation for what it is.
Yeah.
And then we can talk about it later when it's appropriate, adding that extra layer as we're processing it. But I think what tends to happen, especially nowadays, is everybody rushes to judge and input their biases or their context or their feelings or their experiences and project it onto the situation. Mm-hmm. And then while we're technically having a conversation about one subject matter, we're really having multiple different conversations at the same time.
That's true.
So you're not even talking about the same thing.
Yeah.
But in your mind, you think you are.
Yeah.
And so because you're not being heard, because you don't feel validated, then the anger comes out, right?
Exactly.
And then that's when you start screaming at each other, and then we've completely lost the plot.
Yeah.
Which is the very thing that white supremacy wants us to do.
Exactly. I have a personal sort of personal experiences with this because I grew up in the Asian community. You guys know this.
No.
And I was followed in liquor stores in the Asian community. I was followed in grocery stores in the Asian community by my own people, Asian people, right? But I don't jump on the bandwagon of like, fuck the Asian community, I've never supported, because like that's my family. So I always am like kind of shocked and kind of blown away by how quickly people can do that. How quickly people jump on like the anger train that Sam was talking about, because like, yeah, as a kid I was upset, but then who would comfort me? My Asian family. You know what I mean? And tell me like, even though they don't see you as one of them, you are. And really like, that's what made me think like, oh, there is this whole realm of conversations that we have, because we came up and became friends in the social justice space of like just clocking each other's humanity, clocking the historical context of what's happening, so that we don't just like Sam was saying, like immediately go to the angry place. I think social media, and we all have our experience with social media as creators, like it's based on trends. And it forces you almost to choose a side. Because like once you choose a side, then it's easy. Then I know what the trend is. Then I know how to say it in a way that's, you know, maybe not necessarily intentionally rage baity, but creates an atmosphere around you that makes people want to go to you because you confirm their biases, right? The biases that they feel every day, the same way that the media spins it. So like, that's why I like hanging out with you guys, because we actually, I feel sane when I talk to you guys. You know what I mean? And I think we all come from a multicultural lens and a historical lens in terms of our education and the way that we see the world that helps us achieve that. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
What solutions do you think that we could have when it comes to these events? Because history keeps repeating itself. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think there's solutions to the events, right? I think by the time it gets far enough that there is an event, we've already lost the game.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like there is no solution to somebody shot a kid.
Yeah.
An Asian person harmed a black kid. By the time we get there, we're already in trouble. So we need to back up a couple steps.
Let's talk about prevention.
Okay, so for example, my friend Danny Park, his family ran the Skid Row Community Market for 30 years. It was like 93, 94 when they bought it. So Korean family, typical Korean family, corner store in the heart of Skid Row. And then over the decades, they built a relationship with that community. And what they did, instead of being that, you know, that Korean market in Skid Row, they started hiring people from Skid Row. They called it, you know, it was called Best Market when they launched it.
Yeah.
Then they renamed it the Skid Row People's Market.
Okay.
Because they wanted to reflect that. So they weren't just somebody there extracting value, taking money from the community. They were there hiring people from the community, doing job training, giving them places to charge their phones. And what happened was they built up trust with that community enough to, when Danny's mom was ready to retire, they actually found a way for a local black-owned nonprofit to take over the market's operations.
Yeah.
See, like that to me, every story like a Latasha Harlan's, like a Cyrus Carmack Belton, those are real stories, those are real kids, those are real families. The Skid Row People's Market is also a real store, community, and family. And so we need to tell those stories as loud as these other stories are getting told.
Yeah.
Because that, to me, reflects everything that could happen with Asian businesses in black neighborhoods.
Yeah.
But
and then we can also provide the context of why Asian businesses are in black neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Right? Like the system that was created in order to, because the system perpetuates an otherness, an exclusionariness that is like, hey, Asians, you're coming from, you know, whether you're a refugee or whatever kind of immigrant you are, you don't belong in our community. But you can go in this other community and set up your business there. We'll give you the business loans, but they're also not giving the business loans to the black people that already live there.
For sure.
Right? So you're already creating tension. And it's like, it is, people can argue that it's not malicious, but like it is malicious because the system was created that way, and no one's doing anything to prevent that.
And also,
Yeah.
real quick, there's this predominant narrative, right? That like, they gave Asian immigrants business loans when they wouldn't give black people business loans, and that's why they're able to come in and set up these businesses. A lot of Asian-owned small businesses are not bank funded. A lot of it comes from
their own
families
Yeah.
pooling their money to
yeah.
launch something.
Yeah.
So you get 3 families, uncles, cousins. That's why when you go to these Asian stores,
Yeah,
it's
like
all these Asian people working
super
there.
family ran.
Because it's all family run.
Yeah.
And so we got to nip that in the bud too, this idea of like, the idea of white adjacency. The idea that like white supremacy gives Asians, these loans and these handouts that they won't give other Americans. That's something that's been floated around a lot that I think, again, exacerbates tensions.
Yeah.
But it's also 60%, 80% cap.
Yeah, it's like
Wow.
it feeds into the model minority myth, right? And it's like I think even just the term model minority was not created by Asians, right? It was created by a white man, right?
Exactly.
And so it was literally to in the aftermath of Japanese incarcerated folks being released, and then you have this incredibly traumatized community, and then all of a sudden you have this Japanese mother who's being paraded around as mom of the year, and all of a sudden like look at these model minorities,
And
right?
she's like being in a parade in a car, right? Like
just like shell shocked, right? Like
as they celebrate around her and make her the forefront of this idea of a model minority, while she's like traumatized from the experience that they put her through.
No doubt, but we also don't this is the problem is that Asians have been in this country for hundreds of years, but yet we're just completely erased. And so one of the narratives that comes out of it is, you guys would not be here if it weren't for the civil rights movement. Sure, that is absolutely true for a significant portion of the community, but that completely erases the people that were already here before that.
Yes.
It also completely erases the contributions of Asian Americans during the civil rights movement. So it wasn't as if that we just sat there on the sidelines, did absolutely nothing,
Exactly.
and just benefited. But that narrative plays into this idea that Asians just come in, extract, right, and then we never give back, we don't provide, or we're not part of the community, we're not down for the cause. Now, again, I think it's really important to highlight that there is rampant anti-blackness in the API community. like let's not like cap and say that doesn't exist.
I felt it.
Right? No, honestly though, and like we've had to have hard conversations with our friends and family and be like, yo, like that's fucked up. Like, you know? But also like we have to like I think one of the bigger issues that I see is that there's not acknowledgement coming from all parties involved. And what we tend to do as people, and this is like a very human thing, so I just wanted to name this, is that we tend to romanticize our own community and not want to acknowledge the most difficult parts, right? So like from the Asian community, I hear all the time like, we just come here, we work hard, we're good students, and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, man, I was a bad student. What are you talking about? I barely made it through college. And in my family, were we intelligent? Yeah, but we're good students. Like, so this romanticization of our people, and as if we are not capable of harming others, let alone ourselves. Like, we need to stop doing that, right? And if you want to start to heal, you have to acknowledge both the harm that was caused to you, but harm that you caused to others. And I think one of the biggest issues I see between, our communities is that we are so quick to point out how the other side harmed us, but we're not as quick or refuse to acknowledge the harm that was caused, that we have caused to others. And I think part of it is like when you have two communities that have been hurt so much, it is really difficult to have those conversations because as a way of protection, you have to say that no, like I am the one that has been wronged here. But to acknowledge that you may have wronged or caused harm to somebody else is really hard to grapple with when you're still dealing with all that trauma. And that's the part that breaks my heart is when you actually can get off the internet and touch some grass and have two people come together and have a conversation. You see that healing. For example, we talked about Latasha Harlan's like. When I spoke at Haigu, the uprising, it was like the 30th-year commemoration. You know whose entire family was there? Latasha Harlan's family.
Oh wow, where was this?
Is at LA in K-Town. There had been reconciliation and repair that had been done through community leaders and the family. And so the whole family showed up and spoke. They didn't just show up and attend, they spoke. But no one knows.
Yeah.
I was there, I saw with my own 2 eyes. I shook the
Yeah.
hands of the family. I said, thank you for coming.
Yeah.
No.
And that goes back to what you're talking about is like I'll talk about my journey. Like those experiences of being otherized by my own Asian community definitely had an effect on me. Like I told you guys this, but like both me and my brothers lost our best friends because they refused, in the Asian community, Asian kids, because they refused to stop calling us the N-word. You know, after we had expressed to them like, yo, like stop saying that. I don't like when you say that. It's like, well, I'm gonna keep saying it. You know, there is a entitlement that is built up in like Americans who are not black about what they think they can say to black people because like society doesn't view black people as valuable. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And it starts that young.
Yeah.
And so as a kid, I was always like, well, I guess I'm black. I guess that's it. Because when I step outside of my own household where I can be Asian and black 100% both, there's this whole society that seems to operate on different rules. So for the longest time before I started posting about my family and showing my cute Asian grandma and eating with, you know what I mean? And showing myself be in these Asian environments and it be copacetic, like I had no idea that there's a whole contingent of people, Asians of course, but people that are just like, this is what I always wanted to see because this is my family, or this is how I was raised. You know what I'm saying? So I think what plays a major part of that, like you said before, is like having the courage to show it if it's a part of you, but also like amplifying other people's messages, because what is amplified is not Natasha Harlan shaking hands with you and being at that event that is about healing between two communities. It's about rage bait and it's about anger, because seemingly that's what sells the most, you know?
Yeah, and back to Sam's point too, I think we gotta move beyond binary thinking about our communities, because that's what's fucking us all up.
We think it's strength. We think that's strength.
Right? We think
You know?
either two things can be true at once.
Yeah.
Rick Chow could have been frustrated. He could have been microaggressed for decades.
Yeah.
And he could have been, just an honest, hardworking man. And he can also give in to anti-blackness. He can also be influenced by all the messages in media, all the times that, he's seen or heard of black people, black children as a threat. And when this thing happened, he didn't know this kid had a gun. He just saw this kid taking some water bottles, and that was enough to chase him out of the store for 100 feet, 100 meters. Like there's something in that response that tells me that there's more going on
He's
here.
not chasing that kid. He's chasing like all the pent up aggression that he's felt towards black people, or like just pent up aggression that's in his life, and he's directing it to that one black child.
And of course, when all that pent up aggression comes out, it comes out at the most vulnerable person, right?
Yeah.
It's not against the cops, or it's not against the landlord who's been overcharging him, or whatever.
That's
it's
true.
gonna come
the
out.
person you think you can take it out. But I think it's also like, again, like I just wanted to be clear. I don't think any one of us is trying to be like, oh, that was okay, or justifying. It's like,
no, of course.
But like, I think it's really important to, now it's like, okay, we've laid the foundation. Now we can add the context, right? And at the end of the day, Rick is going to have to live with this for the rest of his life.
That's true.
And that anger that was not addressed, like, man, you at the end of the day, bro, like, you murdered
somebody.
14-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Like,
And he got shot in the back.
Yeah.
Those details are kind of enough to be like, what's happening here?
Yeah.
I am always of the side of like, let me not let my knee-jerk reaction to this news guide me in a direction. Let me like...
You know who didn't do that though? The amount of people that hopped on the internet
of course.
and just grabbed the phone, and I was like, and let's address this real quick.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people that probably posted things out of their heart.
Yeah.
But all you motherfuckers that went out there and posted to try to get some clicks, fuck you.
I think there's people who do it like purposely, and then there's people who don't even know that they're doing it. They think that they're doing the social justice work because Like once you go into the comment sections of a lot of these videos that talk about the case, it's like it's a full out race war.
Yeah.
And they're responding to a comment that a black person said or that an Asian person said from a knee-jerk anger reaction that is not based, again, like you were talking about Rick Chow chasing this black teen.
We're seeing that happen over and over again.
You're seeing it over and over again in these comment sections and other people's hearts because, like, again, there's no, like, realm, there's no domain where people can come together and, like, just break bread without just fighting each other.
Yeah.
And if sometimes the context of which black and Asian people meet is this context. It's an event like this. But they're not talking or breaking bread in any other situation, you know? I think that's also why I create the content that I create, but also like the organization that I created, Bloom, is just like, wait, there's no space for us to just get together and do this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like obviously we can have these conversations because of how we were brought up, multiculturally, especially when it comes to the black and Asian relations. But like, most people aren't like that, and again, that's by design in this American system. You silo yourself, you protect yourself. But also what I wanted to say is, Sam, we had a conversation, well, the conversation that we had a couple nights ago, you were talking about how when immigrants come here, they inherit the sort of perspective of the racist structures that are already inherent in this system, and they're just like, they make a calculated decision about how they need to be successful. And it ends up being, okay, well, they're treating those people really badly and they seem to be the bottom and they seem to be at the top. What decision should I make in terms of like who I should associate with in terms of like if I want to be successful in this country? And I didn't say any race in that situation, right? And 9 times out of 10, the person is going to choose, especially if they're a refugee or they're in a foreign country, they don't know the language or have a network, they're gonna start trying to associate with the people they deem as successful, especially if the media and all the mechanisms of TV and film are showing and reinforcing that image that this is success up here, these people that look like this, they got a little bit lighter skin, and then the people down there, and the way that they show the communities in the news, in TV and film, you know what I mean? So that's sort of helping people understand the context of what like Rick Chow or these Asian businesses in black neighborhoods are coming from. It's not really a reality. It's a siloed existence that is conditioned and damn near brainwashed into them.
I mean, it's pretty just ironically black and white, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to continue to live in a situation that is deemed worse, or do you want to be in a situation where you're like, oh, I'm going to give my children, my family, you know, it's like the mindset of the immigrant is like, I don't think people understand, like when you're leaving your home where you are the dominant culture, you speak the language, you understand what's going on, you know the systems, to leave that and uproot and go somewhere else where you have to start all over again. There is an immense amount of pressure and anxiety that comes from it. And then to go to another country and say like, I am going to put myself in the most difficult position and work my way up, or can I try to elevate it's a pretty like simple call. But I think that's where, you know, I think what's important is like once you start to live here and you start to build roots, it is important to ingratiate yourself and understand and know the culture. But I think some things that 2nd gen, 3rd gen kids tend to forget when they start to judge their parents is you had the opportunity to live and grow up in the system to understand and have the bandwidth to understand and learn the systems and history and context.
That's true.
Your fucking parents were too busy just trying to pay the bills and survive and understand and try to navigate a system in which they don't speak the language and you're trying to deal with legal fees or trying to, you know, start a business and pay taxes and literally not even think about your own social life. And yet we are so cruel to our parents. And that's not to say that like it's okay for them to remain ignorant, but the judgment that we cast upon our parents and then like trying to like finger wag at them, like that pisses me off. And it's like, you know, learn how to have these difficult conversations, learn how to actually be in community. And for a lot of these kids that are like judging the Asian parents, like, have you actually even been in black and brown communities? Like, have you actually gone and developed relationships and like, you know, you're espousing all these ideas that you think and projecting what the black and brown folks want, but like, guess what? In the community, there's a whole different variety of opinions on issues, right? Like, I've literally been in the community when, like, you know, it's like you go in and it's all black cops.
Yeah.
You know, they have a very different opinion about policing, and even amongst them, they have a different variation of policing. And I've also been in community where there's folks who, you know, been the victims of police brutality, like the entire, right? So it's like, the way we talk about things, we act like we have one idea of a person and we project it onto everybody else instead. Like, man, like we all have different opinions and experiences that make who we are. And you won't know that until you actually go and get to know people.
I will say, like within my family, you know, that is black. My mother is Chinese immigrant. My dad is black, like from the South. That kind of black, like from the South.
He was hilarious, by the way.
Yeah. But like I've seen in real time, just like growing up, like how these two things can be vastly different. You know what I mean? Like, but like my grandma doesn't speak English, you know, and I'm on my mom's side. But like we still communicate and have dinners and celebrate all the holidays, and like I remember someone commenting on one of my videos being like, how do you do that? How does that happen? It's just like they can't, like the general public can't even comprehend that like people that look this way or celebrate these different holidays or traditions or from different cultures or nationalities can't just like sit next to each other and just like actually have a genuine curiosity and love for one another and just and that's okay. You know what I mean? Like I'm so grateful for the existence that I've had culturally because like it's an endless, like I can't believe that I was bamboozled for even a little bit of time. I mean 10, 20 years of my life to think that like two cultures being together was not dope as fuck. And that there was something wrong about it because of how the outside world talked to me. But in my household, super loved. I could be who I was.
But that's exactly.
I got to experience food, right?
Yeah, dude.
In my older sister's house, you know, you got the Jamaican side, so like you got, you know, my brother-in-law's mom making Jamaican food, and then you got my sister's mom making Korean food. I used to army crawl into the kitchen. And like hit my hands like up here trying to grab some food because like the flavor combination between Jamaican food and Korean food, the smell, it's not even like literally all I got both my hands slapped by two hands at the same time. Right? And they're like,
make a hand and a Korean hand.
They're like, get out of my kitchen, you know, and I literally looked at them. I'm like, this is not my fault. This is your fault, right? The smell is too good. My body just moved without me. It's
too much, man.
The power was too great.
Spices together, it's too much. I can't deal with it.
It's not my fault. Imagine you take like Jamaican oxtail and you have the kimchi and gochujang and like the different flavors of and you put that shit together,
bro. I had
mala
spiced southern ribs.
Damn.
You know, it's just jambalaya, fried rice. Anyway, what are you gonna say?
And I'll start getting my mouth watering.
I'm hungry now.
Because I think this is like kind of the crux of it, right?
Yeah.
Is that our communities work so well together.
Yeah,
like cultures.
Do. In reality, they do.
Right, like I always think about, like Wu-Tang Clan. And what a lot of people don't know is that behind the Wu-Tang Clan, or with them, is a Korean-Canadian woman, Sophia Chang, a New Yorker, right?
She's a real one.
She's a real one.
And I can't help but think that the enmity between Black and Asian communities, right? The same enmity that led to Cyrus Carmack Belton getting shot in the back.
Yep.
The same enmity that led to the LA uprisings.
Yep.
This is engineered in America because when people who are marginal are turned on each other, what we're not doing is fighting the system that put us there, right? When our anger is turned towards each other, and this isn't a conspiracy theory, this is in memos, this is in public policy forever. There's actually in 2013, the Department of Defense put out a 254-page memo about framing China as racist
Yep.
in order to manufacture consent
Yep.
from the American public for conflict with China.
Exactly.
So we know it's in black and white,
Yep.
printed on papers that have been released to the public.
Yep.
They're out there if you want to look for them. But you know what? We don't go looking for them and we don't talk about it.
Nope.
Just like the Epstein files, because they keep throwing other little things. And I'm not saying little as in this was little, but they keep throwing other things in front of us to distract from these bigger conversations. And the truth is, Asian communities and black communities, when we work together, really incredible things happen.
Yeah.
You love Malcolm X. Malcolm X is an icon of black liberation. Yuri Kochiyama, a Japanese American woman, was right there working and advocating for labor, for black communities, for Asian American communities. She survived America's concentration camps.
That's crazy.
And that led to decades of incredible liberative work.
Yeah.
Again, and I won't even I will say America explicitly targets and furthers the fracture lines between black and Asian communities. But this is also true just in general of marginal communities, is any fracture that can be used to split apart communities and create dissent. They're going to amplify that. Because every time we're looking at each other, we're not looking at the person on top.
Yeah. Honestly, I kind of want to end there because that was amazing. But let's dab.
Dude, appreciate you, bro.
That's the intergenerational healing.
Yeah, this
Dab
is
right there.
Hey, this is the Korean and Chinese healing dab right there. So that's the
That
next.
is the healing there. That is the healing there. Thanks for watching The Mixed Message. Tune in for more episodes. We're healing the world. We're doing social commentary and bringing multiple cultures together. Thanks for watching.
Nice.
That was great, man.